Hollywood's melting right now because it's AI and tech is moving so fast and so much faster than public policy. Like, we're seeing something where this is a moment for independent storytellers to go make their thing. I think everything's hard, no matter what you're making. So you might as well just make the thing you want to make. I mean, yes, it's hard, but you just are going to choose your hard. Do you want to play within the system or do you want to make your own system?
Hello, and welcome to Power Beyond Pride, a weekly queer change-making podcast bringing you voices and ideas from across our fierce and fabulous spectrum to transform our world. I'm Kenyon Farrow. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a writer and activist based in Cleveland, Ohio.
And I am your other co-host today, Mattie Bynum, your actress, comedian, and once former dominatrix in a former life. But you know what? We're here today to start something new. And in this episode, we are joined by the beautiful Lisa Cordileone. She is a LA and Raleigh and Durham-based writer and filmmaker working on the Lavender Scare film and other queer-specific films. Welcome, Lisa.
Hello. How are you guys?
We're
Good.
great.
How are you doing?
Good. This is nice. This is so happy Sunday.
I'm glad you're here with us.
Yeah.
So thank you for taking the time to join us for this conversation. So first and foremost, looking at your body of work, you've accomplished a lot in a short period of time. And yeah.
It feels like it's been a long road to God knows where. Okay.
Yeah, I understand that feeling, but we're still young at heart, if not young in actual body.
True. That's true.
But based on that, what would you say are the experiences in your life that help kind of shape your activism and, your movement work now?
I think that being an actor or being any kind of artist is being an activist. If you're an actor, you're auditioning all the time. And if you can get the auditions, it's been pretty slow in our industry lately. And that caused me to start writing. Early on, started writing and figuring out what I have to say as an artist and taking time with that. And that naturally became bigger than just auditioning for other people's work and figuring out what I have to say as an actor. And I think as a gay woman and as a white gay woman, as I look at how the world is continuing to change and how my world is opening up to me, I'm looking at, God, this is such a big question. I'm looking at like my own biases that I hold for myself and how I was raised and maybe how I see the world around me. And I'm diving into the things that scare me most. And that inherently is activism and political sometimes. So I use my work as an actor, writer, producer to tell the stories that align with my mission, which is giving representation to our community, all of our communities, in the best way I know how. So I use art in that way my art is my activism because I'm pretty shy about, Instagram and social media stuff. So it's my way to speak up is through my scripts and through my stories.
So you mentioned just in that response, kind of the ways in which you think about using your privilege to help other people in terms of the work that you create. But, what roadblocks have you faced, when you were starting out, either as an actor or making that transition to writing or directing and producing?
I feel like for me, everything's a roadblock. I mean, this industry, the entertainment industry it's been hard. Like I didn't really know anyone in the industry. My family wasn't part of this industry. I'm the only actor in my family. So I picked up and moved to Chicago for 10 years and worked on stage there and then went to LA after that for a while. So for me, there's always been just getting in the room, just getting a meeting, let alone an audition. It took me many, many years. It took me almost 20 years to sign with an agent for TV and film. And I've been studying and training and doing work for years, but just to get in the room is hard. Then once you're in the room, well, then you're in the game. You haven't even really gone into the game because you haven't booked anything yet. So it's such a long journey, and it has been. So I've run into a lot of roadblocks just getting in the room. And I'm interested in building rooms with people that I want to work with because it's so hard. This work is so hard. So I want to have fun and I want to be challenged and respected. And so those are high standards and hard to find all the time. So I'm always interested in building teams, building teams. I think that's what gets me more excited than just auditioning or just trying to get in the room is
Mhm.
how do we create space for ourselves? Yeah.
Well, since you're now in the room, and welcome, we love having you in the room.
I
It's
like this
so
room.
beautiful. It takes me back to my childhood. We used to sing a song called Plenty Good Room. So there's lots of room in this room for you, and we love that
All
you're
right.
here.
Yeah.
And I see that, a lot of your films are doing really well in the international film circles and all those things. So I want to ask you a two-part question. One, where do you draw inspiration for the stories that you tell other than just your life and or
Mm.
things that are directly in your life? Where do you draw other inspirations? And also, tell what particular filmmakers have inspired you the most as you go on your journey?
Okay, so the first question, this is a good question. It's changed from my 30s into my 40s, what's inspiring me. And over the past 5 years, I would say I read a lot of nonfiction and I read a lot of history and I read a lot about technology. So I'm really into old tech, analog tech. I'm into the history of women in tech, things like Hidden Figures or The Imitation Game. These are the types of movies that I really love. I'm like, what are those stories that we haven't heard about before about LGBTQ characters or Black characters or all different characters that we've never heard their story from underrepresented communities who've changed the world in ways we never learned about in school. I want to learn about who these people are. So I'm drawing inspiration from history and technology and nonfiction books. I was reading books about stoicism and a lot of books about stoicism and philosophy. And I started to instill some of these different traits into the characters I was writing, like integrity and morality and justice and basic good human qualities. Cause I like to see a character battle with their morality instead of just the bad guy or the good guy. So I'm drawing inspiration from that. And the other question, I'd have to say, like, one of my favorite directors out there is, like, Todd Haynes is at the top of my list, and I'm a big fan of watching a lot of female actors or female actresses who are starting to direct for the first time
Mhm.
and watching their directorial debut. So that's been really fun. So any number of actresses who've been on set for years and years who are getting behind the camera. I think that's awesome.
I love that. I think as an actress, I think eventually that's where I want to transition is into production.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
to me, I would say being on set is a beautiful thing, but one of my favorite things is sitting with post production and watching
Yeah.
how they do and put everything, all the pieces together. So
Yeah.
I do want to double back to your project, Lavender Scare. Can we talk
Mhm.
about that? Can you give us some information
Sure.
about what's
Sure.
going on with that?
Sure. So basically, I wrote a proof of concept for a television series, and it's called Crazy as a Loon, is the title of the proof of concept. It's set during the time period of the Lavender Scare, which began in 1947, and it lasted really, I think, until Obama repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell, so till 2010. So it lasted for 60 years in America and is making its way back into into our world right now. And people know about the Red Scare, which lasted for like 2 years, but the Lavender Scare actually lasted for 60, which meant if you were gay, you couldn't work for the government legally. You could be fired. And I just found this very interesting. So I created a TV series and this proof of concept, Crazy as a Loon. And I created these like original characters who I thought could plausibly live in this time and space. So they're not based on any one person, they're just figments of my imagination. So it's historical fiction, but it lives in that Lavender Scare time period. The proof of concept called Crazy as a Loon is now making its festival debuts. We just got into Dances with Films in Los Angeles. So we'll be screening there next month, which is great. And we have more coming up. And the idea is to use it to build on and shoot the first season of a show called Committed. And the TV show is called Committed. And it's about the same thing.
It's funny because one thing I just realized is the three of us. So I don't talk about it much anymore. But my background is in theater. I was an actor. I've studied theater in undergrad and eventually stopped acting for some of the challenges that you mentioned that were more business related than they had to do with my talent, and went into writing essays and doing other kinds of work. And one of my favorite, that sort of period that you're kind of looking at, especially specifically like thinking about the 1950s and 60s and the kind of Red Scare and Lavender Scare is actually one of the things I'm just super interested in.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting is you mentioned now we're in this moment where I think actually both things are kind of resurging. So the kind of Lavender Scare we're obviously seeing in the what's happening with the rollback of LGBT protections at the state level, and then obviously at the federal level. But then there's this kind of undercurrent of going after people for various kinds of political stances, right? In a way that we saw in the 1950s and 60s. And you have spent your time kind of living and working in projects between LA and Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. And so much of how our kind of politics right now is animated by blue state, red state, north, south, big city, smaller city, rural, urban, these sorts of divides. So I'm curious to know, as you've kind of done work and lived in both places, what would look like meaningful change in the country that kind of honored those different sort of dichotomies, north, south, east, west, big city, small city, red state, blue state, et cetera?
I think what I think would garner change is conversation. And I think that's what art does, whether it's a painting, sculpture, picture, and in this case, a movie or a TV show. One of the greatest things about going to film festivals or going to community centers, like we screened this in Durham at Duke Memorial, the church, and at a local bar in Raleigh, just as a community gathering. And conversation about our history, about our shared history, and about American history. It's not just LGBT, it's American, it's not Black history, it's everyone's history. It's American history. And I think having conversation, whether it's in Los Angeles or it's in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, or in Charlotte where we shot it, is all a benefit. And one of the greatest things I like about being back in North Carolina is it's such a purple state. And you really do get an opportunity, I think, to have conversation with people if they're willing to have it. In LA, I lived in West Hollywood. Everyone's very blue in West Hollywood. So not that meaningful conversations don't happen there, because they do, and people are fighting. But if there's one thing I could say that would bring us together, it's conversation and having discernment and wanting to learn about other types of people and really understanding that we have so much in common. We have so much in common with one another. And I just choose to use stories to do that. So I don't know in terms of like legal or anything like that, but yeah.
And we love a good story, especially storytellers. I do want to say we have to go for a short, quick break real quick, but we will be back with the beautiful Lisa. And I definitely want our viewers to continue to keep listening, because it's going to get juicy as we keep talking.
Oh, no. All right.
Stay with us.
Welcome back. This is Power Beyond Pride, a queer change-making podcast. And I am Kenyon Farrow, here with my co-host, Mattie Bynum, talking with the amazing Lisa Cordileone.
Yes. So Lisa, I have a quick question for you. And I think this is a topic that a lot of people are wondering about you, because as I'm looking at your extensive bio over here, you are everything from a writer to a voiceover actress to TV show to acting and producing, and now also a founder and freelancer. So how do you juggle time, and where do you find your comfort space to recharge?
Where do how I find my comfort space to recharge is in the move back to Raleigh, Durham, really to be outside of LA. I've found perspective and some peace. I've been hustling for 20 years in Chicago and LA. And during the pandemic, I made my way back here like a year after the pandemic. And then our union went on strike. And I don't know, there's something about being around family, and there's something about getting older where, I've hustled for a long time, and I have a deep network and great relationships with wonderful people all over. And I just learned that I don't need to be any one place to do what I love. So I'm finding peace just being back in North Carolina, and also that space early in the morning. I get up pretty early and I try to read or write very early in the morning. And that is grounding me for each day to stay like aligned with like what I'm doing and stay on track. But yeah, I juggle a lot of things because I'm curious about a lot of things, and you got to make money. So I'm auditioning for TV stuff or for films. And then like if I book an audiobook, I'll like dip over here and like record a book for a week, and then I'll get back to my writing. And yeah, so it's always a juggle, multi-hyphenate.
So, with all of those various projects and roles that you take, tell us about your favorite project. I know a lot of artists don't like to say what their favorite
Oof.
project is. I'm like, they're all my favorites, but like,
Oh my
but if you
God.
have a favorite, would love to hear about it and why it's so important to you in this moment.
Oh man, it's so hard. So I have like a favorite play I just did and a favorite audiobook I just did and a favorite, like, I would say this Crazy as a Loon, this idea for my show Committed is probably the thing I'm most proud of in terms of as a writer, producer, and an actor. The team we brought together for this, we brought in we hired 40 people to shoot this from 7 states. We produced the hell out of this thing, and I'm very proud of how we produced it. We used recent graduates and alumni from North Carolina School of the Arts and Elon, as well as very established people in New York and LA. And it was a great mentorship learning situation on set. And even for myself as an actor, which is why part of why I want to make this is to get those opportunities to work on set. So I'm really proud of this project that I made here with our team. I'm really proud of it. I just narrated this audiobook that's coming out soon. It's about LGBTQ plus history, and I want to say it's a book for maybe like middle school, like maybe fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, something like that, like middle grade book and or up. And it spotlights different people in history, like Harvey Milk and like all the way back. Like it goes through time. And I was really happy to have that book land in my lap. And I think it's coming out during Pride Month. And I'm like, I got very emotional just like reading the foreword in the book or the introduction to the book, because I wish I had had that book when I was a kid. And I was like, I can't believe this is a book that kids get to have, because I never had that book. And so to get to narrate it was like, that one was really special recently. Yeah. I have to like look up the name. I don't even remember the name of it. It's coming out soon. It's on Audible. Look me up on Audible. It'll be out soon.
After this show, I was going to be running to the Audible to subscription to look you up. Because when I tell you, I have a very vast Audible collection. And now that I know your name specifically, I'm going to be like, oh, did she read my book? Is that what I'm listening to? So I'm definitely going to go and be more intentional about what I listen to so I can listen. I
All right,
promise.
cool. All right, cool.
So I learned a new word recently. Well, I didn't learn a new word, but I guess I'm really getting more into the word that and it's becoming more reverent in my everything that I do. But do you see the power in intersectionality? And do you think that that is something that we need to talk more about or discuss more in the world? Like a bigger topic, I would say, I guess, is that something that we need to dive into more as a collective of
I think that intersectionality is a representation of the world, and we can talk about it or not talk about it, but it's the truth of who we are as people who live on this planet. And when we do talk about it, it's very important, and I think that it's critical to represent. I'll speak to it in terms of like even my work. It's critical to represent, like in my show, I have characters who are Native American, who are white, Black, queer, bisexual, trans, all different types of characters. And it's not to check boxes. It's because we all exist. And so because we all exist, we need to see how how I dreamed it up is how we all existed together at one time and still do. And in our industry, when you're making like a film that's LGBTQ film, it's usually geared towards men or towards women, and more recently towards trans or non-binary audiences. So that way it can be marketed in a specific way and reach those audiences, which I can understand. But what I don't see a lot of is crossover. And that's the intersection of, can't we just exist? And I'm starting to see that even in how our film gets programmed or not. We're actually not hitting so much with the LGBT film festivals because I think in part, I don't know the answer, but I think in part because it's not inherently queer. It's really where our hook is that it's an American story. And so it's not outwardly sexual or anything like that. It's about a family who happens to be a mixed race, mixed family, adoptive family that exists today. And I just thought, well, wouldn't they have existed back in the 40s and 50s? And what would their life have looked like? And how would they have had to survive or try and thrive in some way? What would that have looked like? So yeah, I think I could go on and on, but I think intersectionality is critical. And I'm really interested also in diving into race, and not just race, but colorism and femininity and masculinity. I'm like very interested. When I saw Passing and what Rebecca Hall, speaking of an actor who had a directorial debut, Rebecca Hall did Passing with Ruth Negga and Tessa Thompson. I just thought that was a gorgeous film, talking about that nuance of how we pass because we choose to. Then I went down a whole dissertation thing and read a whole dissertation about passing and whether people passed on purpose or not, if they voluntarily passed or if they involuntarily passed because it was put upon them. And these are very interesting things I could at least relate to in some small way as a white woman because of my queerness. So I'm living at the intersection of privilege and otherness. So I'm very interested. Like I could go on and on. I'm very interested in how we play with the line of privilege that we have and the line of otherness that we have and how we live and exist in the world together. So that's like a core of like what I'm working on right now. Yeah.
And I will
Sorry.
agree. That is
I'm
a conversation that definitely, no. That's a conversation that needs to be had because I definitely agree with you on all of those. As passing is something, and colorism is something that we don't discuss. We do not talk about that, whether it's just in Black and Brown communities or just as a collective as the whole of American history. Because that's a big thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm still learning, but I'm very curious to learn more about this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things I hear you say too, and thinking about, your work and trying to kind of embed queer people in stories in an authentic way that isn't like, this is a gay film, this is the lesbian film, this is the trans film, that kind of thing, and it's one of the things actually that I get frustrated by as a viewer with kind of a number of LGBT specific, especially when it's very clear that it's being marketed to kind of cross into a mainstream sort of straight audience. There's a level at which sometimes the scripts to me are always like, this is what bottoming is. This is what, like this, it's very like, and I'm film goer sometimes in those things. It's like, I'm often like, well, this isn't for me. This is purportedly about me, but it's not for me, right? In that way, because it's so much of it is trying to set up as like an education on certain things in a way that can be frustrating as a queer person living in the community, living in this body that, we have started to see that in some things that get produced. But just to ask you a question, not so much about that, but like you could be making work about anything, right? About you could take an easier route, I think is what I'm trying to suggest.
I never do that. Believe, if you listen to my family's like, you're taking the hardest route. Like even when I've talked to mentors, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna adapt nonfiction into narrative, not a documentary. I'm gonna take nonfiction, create completely original characters from the past and put them, they're like, man, you're making it so hard on yourself. And I'm like, but I don't mean to, it's just where my natural curiosity is. And although it takes time, the process of that time and the processing of information is changing how I see the world, and it's changing what I have to say. So I don't know even what I have to say. I'm figuring it out. That's the fun part,
Yeah. And so is that so? Yeah. My question was going to be, what inspires you to kind of do the hard things, right? As opposed to doing, I don't even want to say anything to like shade any other work that's out there, but you know what I mean? Like doing something that could be more just an easier route of stories to tell.
I think it's all hard. Even if I were to tell fluff stories that were on trend, it doesn't matter. Hollywood's melting right now because it's AI and it's, we're seeing something happen in our industry that we've never seen happen before. Our unions are trying to keep up and are fighting for us. Like tech is moving so fast and so much faster than public policy. Like we're seeing something where this is a moment for independent storytellers, independent filmmakers to go make their thing. This is a time for artists because Hollywood's changing. So to your point, I think everything's hard no matter what you're making. So you might as well just make the thing you want to make and find a way to do it. And to me, it doesn't seem like yes, it's hard, but you just are going to choose your hard. Do you want to play within the system, or do you want to do the hard outside the system and make your own system? So just, it's all going to be hard. So just pick the one that gets you up in the morning. That's
I hope you don't mind if I borrow that statement. I like that. Like everything
yeah.
is hard. So just choose your hard. And I think that is
Yeah.
very true to it because one, I think we can all agree on the two things. One, as LGBT members, I love how people, I know I heard this growing up, look, why would you make your life harder than it has to be? And I'm like, well, who said I made it harder? Not you, but me, you know? So I think that anything that we do is going to be hard. But even as an actor, I love tackling the harder things because to me, the beauty of acting and the beauty of storytelling is finding the nuances of the underlying story. So, like you said, not making it out loud queer, but having a queer underlining to me, I love that part because then I get to really do the hard part to make that underline come to life. So, where
Yes.
it's like you come to the movies, I love going to the movies to see one thing and then end up leaving learning something totally different. So it's
Yep.
like, as an actor, that's one thing that I try to work on. So I definitely agree
That's
with you
awesome.
on that one. And I do
Yeah.
have to mention that we do need to go to break and take a quick
Okay.
short break so we can continue to pay the bills and keep the lines flowing and the recordings
Okay.
going. And so if
Okay.
y'all don't mind holding just a few seconds with us, we'll be right back with the beautiful Lisa and the always amazing Kenyon. All right? We'll be right back. Welcome back to Power Beyond Pride, where we are talking with the filmmaker, producer, and media activist powerhouse, Lisa Cordileone. I am Mattie Bynum, the hostess with the mostest, and I'm sitting here with my always fabulous, beautiful, he looks good in leather, he looks good in suede, he wears anything, Kenyon Farrow. And Lisa, I just, you know what, you have truly brightened our day. So I thank you for being here first and foremost. But I do want to
Thank you.
come back in and ask you a question. So we were talking about the movement work that you do. And so now I want to shift a little bit from your movement work and I want to come into more of your personal. Are you ready to ask some personal questions? Answer some
Oof.
personal questions?
I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Well, I'm
We'll
gonna let
see.
Kenyon take the first question because I don't know if you're ready for my
Okay.
question just yet. But Kenyon's gonna
All
start us
right.
off and we're gonna get personal and we're gonna dig a little deeper. Okay.
Okay.
Well, right. The first question will be a little gentle. So when we talk about queer movement, we often talk about, Pride, right? Pride Month, Pride Weekend, or what have you. But, this podcast is called Power Beyond Pride. And so when you hear that phrase, what does that mean to you?
Power beyond pride means, to me, it means no shame and it means thriving beyond. It's like a breakthrough or something like that. It's not just pride. It's living in joy, thriving. Yeah.
Well, there ain't no shame in my
So-
thriving, honey, because I'm gonna keep stepping whether they like it or not. So I agree with
Okay.
you on that one. Most
right, cool.
definitely. So now we're gonna stay into
I'm terrified. I'm terrified.
Why are you
What's
terrified?
happening? I have
Don't be
no clue. I have no idea where we're going. Okay, go ahead.
That's the
Sorry.
beauty of it. I love it. Look here. If y'all could
Oh,
actually
man.
see our faces right now, we are having way too much fun here together. But we are going into our rapid fire round. And what I love about rapid fire is I like catching people off guard because you can't think. You have to say the first thing that pops in your head, whether it's X-rated, G-rated, L-rated, Y-rated, whatever you want to consider ratings nowadays, TVMA, all of those things. So just whatever pops in your head, let that come out your mouth, okay?
Oh,
There's
God.
no holds barred.
Yeah.
So Kenyon,
Okay.
you want to start us off with the
Yeah.
first round?
I'll start us with the first question. Okay, so first one. What's a song that always makes you want to dance?
Anything by Dua Lipa. I don't know.
Ah,
Ooh, okay.
it's true.
Yeah, anything by Dua
I'll
Lipa or
give you
any funk music. Like I really love funk. I don't know why. I do.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute, hold on, because I don't like all kinds of funk. Because people's funk and funky and then funkadelic, that's a mixture
Yeah.
of things that may not
That's
go
fair.
together.
That's fair. That's
So we
fair.
gotta be careful with the funk. But I would say that.
Yeah.
So, what was the stupidest dare you've ever agreed to doing?
Probably like a bungee jumping thing when I was like in college. Like one of those things that like swings you through. Yeah, I have a fear of heights, so I don't know how I did that. But yeah, I'll do anything once. Zip lining
Okay.
in Mexico. I went zip lining in Mexico and I have a massive
sounds
fear of
fun.
heights. Yeah. I was terrified.
What's your favorite book or book series, but that has come out in the 21st century? So books published in the last 25 years. Your favorite?
Oh my Goodness, books published in the last 25 years. I mean, I read nonfiction, so it's okay. All right, look, I have
Me
one right
too.
here. Okay, here's the one. Here's the
I
one I'm
love a
reading
good
right now.
bio.
This is like an actor glossary. This is Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart. I love this book. This book like breaks down emotion for you. It's a great book. Okay, I'll go with that.
I don't know
That's
if
what
I
I'm
need
reading.
my emotions already broken down because I may not get back up, but I will definitely dive into a good nonfiction book over here. Which filming techniques best captures your vision?
Filming techniques. I'm not a director, so that's why I always hire directors who are smarter than me. Oof. I'll just say I lean into as a writer silent scenes. I really love silence. I like taking somebody's senses away, whether it's sight or sound, and amplifying the other. So that's a technique I like to do as a writer.
Since we're talking about the funk, what's your favorite band?
Oh man, I'm so bad. I'm not good at bands. When I was young, it was like Rage Against the Machine or something like that.
That's a good pick, though.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I want to Rage Against the Machine.
You see, right?
Now it's like John Batiste or something. I have no idea.
Oh,
So I'm more in that zone. I'm very Cynthia Erivo radio all day long on my
got
thing.
you.
So I'm like, I'm over here now. I'm like more like Pink as she gets old. Like Christine, I like singers who can sing. So that's
Yeah.
where I'm at. Mhm.
and I like singers that can age with their age. I guess that's the word I'm
Yep.
looking for, that are not still trying to do the things they first started. Like you can see their progression as they come along.
Yes.
I love that. So dating wise, let's get into dating. What is the worst dating experience you've ever had?
I went on a date in LA off of like an app or something like that. And when I got there, we had been talking, we got drinks. I did a stand up about this actually, and like an open mic about this. And as we're talking, she goes, "Yeah, let me just text my wife." And I was just like, wait, like you're married? And she was like, "Yeah, my wife's in Toronto. I'm here in LA." I used the app to make friends. And I was like, this is like the first I was hearing about it, like being friends. And I was like, then why are you on that? Wait, you're married and you want friends and you're on this? And I was like, I feel like you're using it wrong, or I'm a moron. And I just lost like $18 on a single drink. And I wish I had just stayed. So that was pretty, I'm like, what? So I don't use the apps anymore. I'm off the apps. I'm not into that. I like meeting, I'm old school. I like meeting people in person. I'm good one-on-one. I travel a lot and I meet people a lot. So if I come across somebody, I like interacting organically and in that way. I don't know.
Ooh. What's the most irrational superstition that you have?
Irrational? Oh God. Irrational superstition that that the Buffalo Bills will finally win a Super Bowl, and if I wear my old sweatshirt from the 90s, that they're going to win one year. So that's ridiculous, but I'm a big Bills fan. I'm from New York.
I like it.
All right.
I'm from New York originally. We're from upstate New York, so I'm a big
gotcha.
Buffalo Bills fan. Yeah.
When you were preparing to do a voiceover, how do you get into that process? Like, what's your process getting prepared for it?
If it's a commercial or anything animation, I warm up. And if it's audiobooks, I warm up. I warm up. I warm up my voice. I warm up my body. I warm up. If it's a book, I prep the book by reading the whole book first and prepping it like I would a script.
And last one. So if you had to say, when this is all over, when you look back on your life,
Oh, God.
what is this experience that you want to say that people had of you who came across you personally or your work?
That it was honest.
Hmm.
That it was honest. And that it was from the heart. And that it was, that it's truth, or the truth as I experience the world. That it's honest.
Hmm.
No bullshit. No. I think probably my favorite word is integrity. So I'm just a dork for that. I just don't want to make anything that's not true. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the hard route.
Yeah.
That's the hard I chose. Oh man, it's going to take me a long time to get
That's
anywhere.
great.
But I think that sums it up completely right there. Integrity and was it honest? I love that. I think anyone who truly does take the hard road, that's really what we want our legacy to be, is like, was it honest and pure and true? So I like that. Lisa, where are some places that people can connect with you now? Like your social medias, where are you located? Sure. What do you do? Things like that.
What do I do? It sounds like all I do is read and write, which is true. That's pretty much what I do. I'm on Instagram. That's really the only social media I use. It's just my name at Lisa Cordileone. So Lisa Cordileone. Our short film has like at Crazy as a Loon. If you do that on Instagram, it'll show up. That's pretty much the best place to reach me, I guess.
All right. Thank you so much, Lisa, for being here. But we are out of time for this podcast, but we hope that we can have you back again and, that you will be able to join us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for this. This is a great conversation. I feel like I may have let you down with some very serious answers, but because I came in and it was so fun when I got here. And then I was like,
no, you have been a ball. I've enjoyed it. Our shenanigans go from highs to lows, to medium, to east to west, but I've truly enjoyed this conversation. I feel like I've just got a new best friend. So I can't wait to meet with you outside the show and let's connect and get together and do some stuff. But yeah, I definitely thank you again for being here. Like you said, y'all can find her at Instagram as at Lisa.Cordileone, not the Don Cordileone, but Lisa.Cordileone. And she is always at a bookstore near you or on Audible if you want to listen to her voice first to get to know her voice. And that way you can get to know her personality later. Just look up Lisa Cordileone on Audible, iTunes, Apple, all those beautiful things. And I am Mattie Bynum, your co-host with the mostest, and I am here with the beautiful Kenyon. You can follow me at Mattie Simone 737 on Instagram, Mattie Bynum on Facebook. And I do not give out my ex because I try not to be on there because I'm trying to be a Y person at this point in my life. So there you go.
I'm similar. Thank you so much, Mattie. Again, I'm Kenyon Farrow, your co-host, and you can follow me on all socials at just my name, at Kenyon Farrow. Again, I keep the X only because I don't want someone to steal it and then use it to do nefarious things, but you can find me pretty much on everything else, just at Kenyon Farrow. And also, just to the audience out there, remember to subscribe and get your friends to subscribe to Power Beyond Pride on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And be sure to check out our website at powerbeyondpride.com.
And Power Beyond Pride is a project from A Great Idea, a queer-owned design and content agency. Learn more about them at agreatidea.com.
This episode is produced by Shane Lucas. Asmita Sarkar is the project developer. Our editor is Jared Redding with support from Ian Wilson.
We are both part of the podcast Awesome host team here at Power Beyond Pride, and we invite you to send in your questions and comments to our website, powerbeyondpride.com, so that we can stay abreast on what is going on in the streets, all right?
Yes, indeed. And check out our new episodes each week, and we look forward to queer change making with you each time next time. Thank you from all of us at Power Beyond Pride.